Researchers looked at the death toll of those living in Puerto Rico and how Hurricane Maria impacted them. Turns out that the death toll is significantly higher than the official government statistic. Now, this study was published in the New England Journal of Medicine, and what the researchers found was that the death toll in Puerto Rico post-Hurricane Maria was more than 70 times higher than the official government count. So just to get into some specific numbers, at least 4,645 people and perhaps as many as 5,740 died in Puerto Rico as a result of Hurricane Maria. And I just want to be clear about something. The relief efforts in Puerto Rico have been slow and have not been as effective as the Trump administration would have you believe. In fact, I spoke to some of the relief workers who are providing support in Puerto Rico. I spoke to them over the weekend because I was curious how things are looking right now. And what I found was, or what they've found, is that the touristy areas in Puerto Rico seem to be doing pretty well, but everywhere else they're still without power and without the necessities to continue surviving. And a lot of people are concerned about that right now. Now, the official government death toll for that storm pales in comparison at 64. The official government statistic is that 64 people have died post Hurricane Maria. That's obviously not accurate. Now, the study's authors reached their conclusion after surveying 3,299 households about deaths and causes of death between September 2017 through the end of the year. And what they found was, hey, there are lots of issues in terms of medical needs and not having the power to support those medical needs. So the interruption of medical care was the primary cause of sustained high mortality rates in Puerto Rico following the hurricane. Chronically ill patients were especially vulnerable to the disruptions in basic utilities.
So if you guys remember, Donald Trump went down there after the hurricane, and he kept saying that the people of Puerto Rico should be proud at the low death count. It was a bizarre thing to say in the first place. What does that mean? I mean, a hurricane is literally a force of nature, and if it's going to wipe you out, it's going to wipe you out. Now, if he was talking about preparedness, which I'm not sure was great in that case, okay, that might make more sense, or the reaction to save people's lives, but it was fairly terrible. And I guess that's why Trump, as usual, feeling insecure, wanting to protect his record and not worry about people, was like, oh no, you should be proud. You should be proud. At the time, he said only 16 people died. That's what he claimed, and that's what the government, to be fair, that's what the government was claiming at the time, okay? And now they're claiming 64, and when it turns out it's in the neighborhood of 5,000. And Trump had also said, now, with Hurricane Katrina, it was thousands of people who died, and so you should be so proud that not as many people died here. And now it turns out that almost 3 times as many people died in Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico as died in Hurricane Katrina, which was already an enormous amount of people. 1,833 had died during Katrina, but now Maria apparently was way worse. And man, there's a lot to answer for here, whether it's the federal government or the government of Puerto Rico not telling us the true severity of this disaster.
Well, the relief efforts were and continue to be lopsided if you compare relief efforts in Puerto Rico to what happened in Florida and Texas. Let's just keep it 100. If parts of Texas and Florida were still without power today, there would be so much anger, especially among the conservatives in the country, because those are conservative states. But the reason why Trump made those statements, at the time, the official death statistic in Puerto Rico was about 16 people. And the reason why he made that comparison to Katrina was because he was trying to, puff up his own chest and make it seem as though, hey, this is not my Katrina. I have done a great job in handling this situation, when in reality that was not the case. By the way, we haven't even talked about the suicide rate in Puerto Rico, which skyrocketed following the hurricane. Reports of suicide attempts on the island more than tripled between November of 2017 and January of 2018. Things are not good in Puerto Rico. There are still parts of the island that are not, receiving the electricity that they need, the utilities they need, the resources they need, they have been forgotten. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
So there's one additional salt in the wounds here, and it comes from apparently a Democratic lobbyist. So Namiki Consta has done a great job of covering Puerto Rico for us on TYT Politics. She's one of our reporters. But she pointed out something to me today, covered back at the end of last year by LatinoRebels.com. They pointed out that 13 Democratic senators, to their credit, had said, we should investigate the official death count. And this was back in October of 2017. So great job by those senators, including, by the way, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. But then Vantage Night founder Manuel Ortiz, who's described as a prominent Democratic strategist and one of Washington's top lobbyists, wrote to those senators saying, don't do it. The Democratic governor there, Richard Rosello, will look bad and appear incompetent if you guys investigate this. So
that's because he's bad and incompetent.
So don't do it. He's a Democrat. You should protect him.
That's ridiculous.
So people in power, both Democrats and Republicans, unfortunately, always looking to protect their own, which is other powerful people. But credit to the Democratic senators who insisted on it, and now to the journalists who found out the real answers. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below. Then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.